Well, it seems everyone has those summer camp horror stories. This is hideous.
You know, there are some steps, though, that parents can take to prevent those kids from having that horrible, horrible experience. Yes. Like, you know, if you catch the plastic fish, sometimes it works, and sometimes... Yeah. Oh, I got the fish.
You're good.
There it is.
Well, the kids are heading off to camp, and we need to be thinking about what it is they need. And Dr. Sarah Denny from Nationwide Children's Hospital is here, and we have more or less a summer camp survival kit ready to go.
That's right. Okay, so first of all, bugs. This is the time of year where we start seeing the mosquitoes, the ticks, insects that carry diseases. So we want to prevent.
Is this distracting? Should I do that?
I love it. I love it. I would have worn mine had I known that's what we were going for. So we want to protect our kids. So before you send your child off to camp, we want to put some bug spray on them. This actually is 40%. This is not something we would recommend in children. We use this as an example of something a product that we wouldn't want to use.
So for adults maybe, but
maybe for adults, but 30% or less is what we would want in children.
Good to
and
know.
Okay.
From people who are listening who have infants, we don't recommend using anything containing DEET in children less than 2 months. So you want to spray your child. Another thing is if your child's going to an overnight camp and you know they're going to be out in the evening playing games or fishing or whatever, provide them with some long sleeves, socks, long pants, cover up the skin because that's really when the bugs are the worst and you can really protect them a lot using
Good idea.
because they
clothing.
can carry all kinds of Lyme disease and what all kinds of
like
things.
West Nile virus is another one that we see a lot of. Not to mention they're just going to be uncomfortable.
Right, itching and scratching.
Exactly.
All right, what do we have here? This looks like if you're out in the sun.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we all know sunburns cause skin damage. We want to protect our children. They've got that beautiful, perfect skin. So exactly, we want a broad-rimmed hat. This is perfect.
And what 4-year-old wouldn't want this?
Absolutely. So you know. Put your kids in a little ball cap with a nice brim to protect their sun.
Exactly.
Oh, but if you do this, don't forget their ears.
That's exactly right.
I used to do that all the time. And how many sets of ears did you go through that they got burned when the rest of you was fine?
Oh yeah, because you have your hair, for girls, you have your hair up in a ponytail and your ears. So want to protect those eyes. Okay, so sunglasses. And this is actually, just a kind of side note, if your child's fishing, hat and sunglasses prevent those hooks from getting in the eyes.
Oh, instant safety goggles.
Side note, but regardless, okay. And then we have sunscreen. This is just a couple different varieties. You do want to make sure that it's got UVA and UVB. It says broad spectrum. You want it to be at least SPF 30. This is an example of SPF 50. The other thing is if you're sending your child to a camp, a day camp, or an overnight camp, where they're going to be in the water, you can send them with their sunscreen. But whether or not the child reapplies it, I don't know. So another really great option that is on the market, and there's so many cute, for boys and girls, these rash guards. They've got SPF 50 usually, and it protects the skin really nicely. So this is kind of a nice option.
That's almost like a
if
rubbery
you're doing,
kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it started in
a rash guard?
Rash guard. I think it started in the surfing world.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Sure.
Yeah, because they do on their little boards get rashes.
Exactly, because we do want, you know, if you're in the water, you should be applying sunscreen every 2 hours. I'm not sure if that actually happens.
The kids may not actually do that.
But definitely cover them up with sunscreen before you send them out the door.
Like fun.
And then we have, what is this?
This is for heat, you know, avoiding heat stress injury, heat exhaustion. It gets really hot and humid in these Ohio summers, so it's really important that you hydrate your child. If they're going to a day camp, you know, let them drink freely before they come. And camps are usually pretty aware of this kind of thing.
I was wondering about that. They're good about it?
You know, they should be taking frequent water breaks, but make sure you're sending them off with a water bottle. Put a lot of ice in it. If they're bringing in a lunch, you know, pack a cold drink in there as well so that they're hydrating. And make sure kids know that if they're starting to feel bad, they're feeling really hot, dizzy, nauseous, that they communicate that to an adult. They get them in, you can get cooled off. You have this nice little fan thing. Get cooled off, get out of the sun, and be very carefully monitored.
As much as you want to keep playing. If you feel dizzy, get out of there.
Is there truth to the light colored clothing versus the dark?
Absolutely. So light colored clothing, and now there's so much really great wicking clothing, like the Under Armour and stuff. Putting them in the light colored, like one layer of that kind of clothing is really great. So they're getting that moisture off their skin.
And then what do we have here? Oh, this looks like allergies.
Exactly. So if you have a child who's got asthma, allergies, you know, seizure disorder, some kind of medical problem, you'd want to talk to the camp administrative staff beforehand and just explain the situation and make sure that it's going to be a safe situation for them. And you want to make sure when you get to camp that you bring whatever emergency equipment you need. So, you know, if you have food allergies, you want to bring your EpiPen. Make sure that it's labeled so they know, you know, same with asthma, here's an inhaler and the mask and spacer, and then this is another epinephrine auto-injector. And then have an action plan. So this is the instructions that go through if there is an emergency, what things you should look for and what you need to do. Obviously, you know, call 911, but providing the camp with really clear guidance as to how to handle those kind of situations.
I'm allergic to this, 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 and this, and here's what to do about it, just in case.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
So you just want to give them all the information and obviously your contact information as well, so that if something happens, they know who to call.
Now, IVs, the poison ivies,
yes.
the poison oak, all of those. Some of those are pretty nasty.
Yes, yes, and I worked all weekend and I saw quite a bit of it.
Oh, did
so
you?
we're really starting to see it. You know, it's finally warm out. It's dry.
What does it look like?
Yeah, how do you know
how do you
what's
know
what?
which one's which?
I don't know.
That's the trick. And poison ivy doesn't look the same all year long. So, you know, leaves of 3, let it be is kind of the old mantra that we know.
Really?
Right.
Typically, the central leaf has a longer, thinner stem. And this time of year, it's kind of green and shiny or waxy looking. But then as you go into fall and winter, it starts looking a little bit more red and fuzzy. So, you know, it can be a bush, it can be a vine, so it likes to grow up buildings or up fences, another place where we see them. If a child,
there we go.
Yes, exactly.
Wow,
There's
it
some
really
pictures.
does look different.
It does, and that's the tricky thing is, you know, if you learn what it looks like in one picture, it's not necessarily consistent. So if a child thinks that they may have touched poison ivy or poison oak, they need to wash their hands immediately.
Right.
Okay. Without touching their eyes, without touching their face.
Good
They
luck
just
with
need
that.
I know. I know. They need to just get those oils off their body. If it's been on their clothing, they need to change clothes right away, because that's really how it continues to spread is the oils. You know, if they get it on something and then it's on their pillowcase and they sleep on their pillow.
Then it's everywhere.
Exactly.
Sarah,
So-
thank you so much.
Oh, thanks
we
for
appreciate
having
your
me.
time this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, a whole lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
But at least send them off prepared. We
Exactly, and
appreciate
have
that.
fun.
Let's see what's coming up next. Oh, look at that, Marshall. Coming up, it's a healthy way to relieve stress.
Turns out that Dana is throwing a few punches this morning. He's at Title Boxing. We're going to check in with him next.